Lord Darkwood returned at dusk, finding Iris still seated at the secluded table in the corner, wearing the ugly hat and surrounded by empty plates. Atterbury had fed her well and now sat with her. As the inn had settled into a quiet rhythm, with the fire crackling in the hearth and a few patrons chatting softly, Atterbury had taken the moment of respite to meet the young witch queen. He had thought she was in disguise, travelling secretly under the protection of the dragon, but quickly realised she did not know who she was. In fact, she seemed to know little of the wide world. Iris was laughing at something Atterbury had just said as Darkwood joined them.
I do not think our good Atterbury is entirely truthful,
she said with a playful smile as Darkwood sat down.
He has been known to stretch a yarn,
replied Darkwood with a hint of amusement. His belly was full, and the walk in the spring evening had livened his mood. With Darkwood's return, Atterbury rose and stretched.
Time to light the candles.
His voice trailed off as he watched a group of expensively dressed men with an air of superiority enter his establishment.
I'll get John to light the candles then, shall I? That there,
he said, nodding to the men,
is where my attention needs to be.
Grasping Iris's hand between his own, he shook it heartily, his broad smile radiating warmth.
You take care now, young lady. Stay with our Lord Darkwood. He'll see that you're safe.
He turned to Darkwood.
I'll have John bring you some ale.
Iris's pint was still half full. As soon as Atterbury left, Iris turned to Darkwood with a question that had been plaguing her while he had been gone.
This morning, you said that humans were nothing to dragons. You were quite disdainful, and yet you seem to get along with, like even, humans.
John appeared for a moment with Darkwood's ale, then left to begin lighting the candles around the room.
Well,
replied Darkwood, as he leaned back in the chair.
This morning was a surprise for us all.
For you as well. How could not be?
I received a message from the moon 4 nights ago, stating that my future was in Riverside Millbury, your village. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was not a small, bedraggled human. It had been a long flight, and I was tired. I am afraid my ire got the better of me. I felt as though I had been sent on a fool's errand.
Iris looked past the insults, focusing on one piece of information.
4 nights ago.
Yes, I was sent by name to fetch you.
I was told only last night. She mentioned nothing before that.
The moon keeps her own plans,
he said.
Her mystery is beyond me.
It's very curious,
said Iris, looking away and getting lost in her own thoughts. Then she suddenly looked back as another piece of information drifted into her musings.
How am I to be your future?
I do not know. I am to leave you with the master, and then he will be your custodian.
Oh, I see.
The dragon sipped his ale, frowning. For the first time, he was uneasy about leaving Iris at the dragon court.
Iris,
he said eventually.
The way I spoke this morning, with such disdain, as you say, and dismissal. Some dragons do feel that way, notably the dragons at court. You are going to the court.
She looked at him with an expression as innocent as a lamb. He sighed.
Do you see that man?
He asked, nodding toward the man talking with Atterbury.
He is the magistrate of the Stygian Reach. He is an odious man. But through the privilege of birth and wealth, he has risen to a place of power, and the Stygian Reach is less afford. There are some at court who would treat you the same as that man would treat you. They do not consider others they deem beneath them. I do not know why you go to the Dragon Court. but do not stay beyond the completion of your business.
Iris's heightened emotions had clouded her sight all day. She slowed her breathing. Closed her eyes and pulled herself out of time. She settled into the timeless moment, then opened her eyes. At first, she could not find the magistrate's aura. His aura, unlike any she had seen before, did not glow. It was dark brown and green and black. A translucent sludge of sewage that twisted around him like a suffocating cloud of pain and anger and hate. She shuddered and looked back at Darkwood with worried eyes.
I do not think I will like the dragon court.
No,
He replied.
I do not think you will.
The windows of the inn slowly faded to black as the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon. The candles John lit flickered against the walls as Iris and the dragon sipped their ale and watched the innkeep charm his new patron with well-timed flattery and deference. Other guests of the inn were coming and going, and the quiet, content atmosphere, coupled with food and a long, tiring day, were lulling Iris to sleep.
Come, Iris.
Darkwood said as he stood.
We have a long way to travel tomorrow. It is time to sleep.
He guided Iris to the bar while Atterbury concluded his conversation with the magistrate. As they neared, Darkwood felt Iris withdrawing from the magistrate, leaning more into him with every step. By the time they reached the bar, she was pressed against him as if she was trying to hide.
Which room?
Lord Darkwood asked Atterbury.
I forgot, did I?
Said Atterbury. He fumbled it in his pockets for a moment before pulling out a large key and handing it to Darkwood.
Attic room, as you like.
Darkwood?
The magistrate said in greeting. Lord Darkwood turned his attention to the magistrate.
Sir Darius.
He replied. The magistrate looked at the young woman huddled against Darkwood like a stray dog.
It seems you are here on pleasure, not business.
Darkwood paused for a moment before replying.
As you see.
I myself chase a flown bird, but I could use some pleasure for the night.
He nodded at Iris.
Send her to my room when you are done. She can double her wages.
Iris could feel Darkwood stiffen against her as his muscles tensed. He put an arm around her and pulled her firmly against his chest as he said in a deep, menacing voice,
I do not share.
She felt his chest rumble like a heated furnace as he spoke. Sir Darius frowned. Being spoken to in such a manner was both unfamiliar and unwelcome to him. However, Lord Darkwood was a red dragon from a powerful house. He could say nothing.
As you wish.
He said flippantly, waving his hand and dismissing them.
There are plenty more where she came from.
Darkwood's expression was stormy as he whisked Iris away.
I do not like him.
Iris whispered as they walked up the stairs.
Few do.
Replied the dragon.
Only the sycophants who feed upon his droppings tolerate him. Most avoid him if they are able.
He had spoken with venom when discussing the magistrate, but his voice softened, taking on an apologetic tone.
I am sorry for presenting you as a woman of pleasure. With Sir Darius, it is wise to avoid his attention. To keep you invisible, I portrayed you in a way that would not arouse his curiosity. It is best that he does not know our business.
I do not care what he thinks of me. His opinion is worth no more than he is. And,
she continued,
I am nobody. I am the local witch for a small remote village, apprentice switch even. Such a man as the magistrate has no business with someone as inconsequential as I am. I shan't meet him again.
She stopped, turning towards Darkwood and touching his arm lightly as she looked up at him.
Contrary to how it might seem, your introduction was both noble and kind because it protected me. Thank you.
Darkwood did not reply.
Falling through the night sky, stars shining bright.
He frowned. A long dormant feeling stirred within him, and he did not like it.
This enchanted evening, everything feels right.
Not with a human, not with a witch.
Lose yourself in the magic, let your worries take flight.
He pressed his hand against her shoulders and continued to lead her up the creaky stairs to the attic room.
Close your eyes and dream, let the stars be your guide.
As the key unlocked the door, it revealed a modest, functional room, furnished with a bed, chair, basin, and a hearth where a small fire flickered. Moonlight poured into the room through a window set into the A-frame of the attic.
Oh, I can wash.
Iris said with delight and relief as her eyes fell upon the basin with a pitcher of water, soap, and brush next to it. As she washed her face and hair, Darkwood took off his coat and shoes and settled onto the bed.
Where am I to sleep?
She asked as she watched him lie down while she rinsed her hair.
The bed, of course.
She stopped her washing, looking at him confused.
The both of us.
Have you not shared a bed before?
With my mother? Not with.
Her voice trailed off. She was not quite sure how to finish the sentence.
Ah, I see,
said Lord Darkwood, with humour in his eyes.
I shall be a gentleman. That I promise.
She finished washing her hair, trying to hide her discomfort. The day had been full of new experiences, and the night, it seemed, would continue her adventure. Iris sat in the small chair by the fire and began drying and brushing her hair. With every brushstroke, her hair shimmered and danced, like moonlight reflecting off raindrops. Transfixed, Darkwood gazed in wonder.
Has your hair always been like that?
He asked. She glanced at him, her blue eyes a mix of confusion and curiosity.
Like what? Silver? Or white, or whatever colour it is? I was born with white hair. My mother claims it is a rare colour, passed down to the women in our family.
And what do the people of your village think of your hair?
Darkwood found it curious that for 25 years, no one had mentioned the importance of her hair.
That is an odd question.
She mused as she began drying and brushing her hair again.
My village is small. The village gossip seldom involves me, aside from suggesting that I am strange. But one must expect that, I suppose. Witches do tend to be eccentric. We see things that others cannot, or do not.
Such as?
He asked as she went silent.
Well, the moon, for example.
She said, peering out of the window, a tender smile playing across her face.
Do you hear her now?
No. One must be out of the time stream to hear her, and that requires focus.
He looked at her quizzically.
I do not understand.
Iris was confused.
But surely you do. You said she sent you, by name, to fetch me. Did you not speak with her?
Dragons cannot hear the moon. The shamaness of the valley conveyed her message.
Iris immediately stopped brushing her hair, her face lighting up with excitement.
A shamaness? Oh, how I have longed to meet the shamans of earth magic. I've read so much about them. Their drums echo the heartbeat of the planet, and their feet stomp in rhythm with her lifeblood. Their magic is intertwined with nature, and their training differs vastly from that of witches. I asked Nan if I could leave the village to train with the shamans. Magic is magic, you know, and I wanted to learn other traditions, but she told me it was too dangerous, which I did not understand, and she did not say more. Are shamans dangerous? Does the shamaness live at Ebon Keep? Will I meet her?
No, shamans are not dangerous, and the shamaness is not at Ebon Keep. There are no shamans at Ebon Keep, or witches, or humans. It is a rather dreary place. I avoid if possible.
It is the seat of the dragons, is it not?
Yes, and that is why I must go there.
Then he said, with a twinkle in his eye,
But only on occasion, and only when necessary.
Although she had been smiling at Darkwood, she suddenly let out a sigh, her shoulders drooping and her arms dropping to her sides.
I am bone tired,
She murmured, the fatigue of the day pressing heavily upon her.
Then sleep.
He encouraged her. She sighed again, looking at him with plaintive eyes.
I have never slept next to a man. It is a strange thing.
Where do witches feel safe when they sleep?
He asked, as he stood and walked to the fire.
Perhaps in a hidden glen where moonlight dances on water.
Gathering her in his arms, his voice was soft and reassuring.
Or perhaps in a meadow under a starlit canopy.
He carried her to the bed and laid her down.
You may sleep knowing that you are safe, Iris Brightwater.
He took the brush from her hand.
For no one dares enter a dragon's room.
Darkwood returned to the fire and settled into the chair, allowing her the space she needed to feel at ease.
Lord Darkwood,
She said sleepily from the bed. It was the first time she had called him by his name, and his body reacted.
you spoke with the north wind this morning. How were you able to do such a thing if you cannot speak to the moon?
The shamaness, Seraphiel, gave me a tea to drink. That is another reason I was in a foul mood this morning. The tea made me nauseous and, let us just say, I did not like it. But it allowed me to hear the north wind and follow his instructions.
Seraphiel. What a beautiful name.
Her voice was sleepy and quiet as she drifted off to dreams of shamans. Darkwood frowned as he watched her sleeping, her face the colour of dew, and her hair spilling down the side of the bed like a moonlit waterfall.
She is not my charge, nor is she my burden.
He spoke softly to himself, as though seeking to convince his own mind.
She is not my problem.
Then he looked out of the window, towards the moon.
Why did you send me? What are you up to?